nying moloyo nying duto, Yesu kende Yesu.
Walemo. Kind and loving Father, Lord, we adore you this afternoon for who you are in our lives. We want to listen to your manservant as he presents matters concerning our health. How I pray, Lord, that you will invoke the presence of the Holy Spirit into us so that we may benefit from the teachings that we are going to get. Be with each and every one of us, for I pray in Jesus' name. Adwa kao thuolo ni makende mar rwako ji duto mondo wayud thuolo mar winjo puonj mar motenore kod kit ngimawa korka weche mag thieth. And wan gi daktari obiro dhi kodwa through Optimum Health. Tadwa penjo ni kama wantiere ni ere joma osedhi osiptal. Nitie joma pok odhi osiptal? Waduto wasetimo ang'owa? To ere nitie joma muonyo yedhe sechegi? Obed mar onyalo bedo mar malaria, mar diarrhea. Nitie reason momiyo apenjo kamano nikech ka itiyo gi yath mimuonyo, nitie instructions monego beni ibedogo sama omi yath. Donge mano en gima duto wang'eyo. Koro yath nitiere policies abich miluongo ni the 5R policy, ma sama idhi e thieth imi prescription imi one as a patient. Donge in a patient kidhi hospital mana kaka in a passenger kidonje gari. Then the other R is the right medication monego mi kaluwore gi tuo ma in go. Then the right time monego kawe tuo no. Dorothy, kokoni ni mai muonyo sa ariyo, donge iseche mi muonye? Koro muonyo yath bende nigi time. Then ibiro dhiye the right route mitiyogo gi yath. Nitiere yedhe moko ma nyaka muony gi dhogi, moko samoro inyal kelni iketo ni kata mana tube ma itimo ma modonjogo e dendi. Daktari, donge nitie joma imiyo iluongo nang'o intravenous? Ichuoyi. Koro nitie situations moko ma samoro ng'ato tuo ma ok inyal bedo able ni mi yath kata inyalo muonyo yath gi dhogi. So mago gin some of the procedures ma waduto kwase kata dhi hospital samoro isebede condition miyudo ka in a situation ma komi yath imi instructions kaka idhi tiyogo. Iumi. Mago koro conventional medication to the modern one. So, e kit ngima dhano ibiro yudo ka piny makoro wantiere ne nitiere ka bend tuoche bende mopogore opogore. Moko wanyalo manage either kwa maintain good health kuonde mwadake kata kwa bedo gi kit nyalo moro mwanyalo tiyo gi kabend chiemo moko mageng'onwa mondo stages mag ngimawa kik dhi piny ahinya kaluwore gi kaka wantiere sechegi. To adwa kao thuolo ni mondo daktari obio puonjwa nikech gima wang'eyo nga ni nitiere tuoche moko masani onyalo wacho ng'ato nyalo koni an awinjo ka an gi depression to samoro mano description mare donge kata winjo ka an gi anxiety ok ong'e ni to ang'o ma cause gima en to describe en owuon. So most of us ani osebedo kadhi e internet timo gimiluongo ni self prescription kuomwa wawegi. Ng'ato ng'iyo ni tienda moro osechako ka rama kama, odhi to Google ni what are the causes kata mag knee pain. To samoro gik miyudo kacha ka may not be exactly gima dine kidhi ir doctor, to doctor biro prescribe kose pimi. Kora dwa chiwo thuolo ne daktari mondo oterwa through gima no iko, and I believe ni waduto wabiro chiko itwa. Some of these things ber kikaw notes, nikech puonj mibiro yudo ka samoro kidhigo kamoro to ne inyalo chulo consultation fee ma wang'e kwa dhi oko ka donge mana dieri. Koro ber kwa bedo prepared ne the basics mag ngima, ni kochopo kata ma wanyalo ng'ene to daktari biro puonjo to kama ema chanda, what are the causes, ang'o manyalo timo mondo mi kik ma omaka, kata ere kaka nyalo wuoke. Ka nitiere gik moko ma samoro nyalo maintain ni imodho pi maliet kata bang' chiemo, kata kichiewo bed kata mana saa 8 otieno. Koro adwa rwako daktari mondo obi. Kapok obiro wadwa somo Johana mar 3 West 2 3rd John verse 2 says, "Dear friend, I pray that you may enjoy good health and that all may go well with you, even as your soul is getting along well." That was Paul writing to the elder by then. And no ng'eyo ni jo Kristo man gi good health can work well e tij Nyasaye. Omiyo akelo jatich Nyasaye ka waduto warwake ni mondo omiwa mago manyalo konyowa e kit ngima. Ji adi makonya rwako daktari? Karibu.
Greet us all in the name of Jesus Christ. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sabbath and happy day.
Okuodho nane translation mag medical terms tek. Koro wavumilia ni wabiro winjo from his direct presentation.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful Sabbath, and we want to thank God for leading us thus far. And this is the culmination of the 10 days of prayer, and also the culmination of Health Week. So it is wild that we've been having a Health Week, and as a church, the Remnant Church of God, God has entrusted us with a work to do, to take the 3 angels' message to the end of the world. And so God also desires us all that as we go, we must be healthy. We must be healthy. So as we were singing, I felt the cold that we have. So I just want to engage us a bit through a song. And I kindly request that walu kaka wirwacho. Koro, it is going to be some kind of warm-up, mondo chiewa, kawachako our presentation this afternoon. Koro song goes that if I say lean forward, you lean forward, lean backward, to the left, to the right, stand up, sit down, to the left, to the right. Sawa sawa. Yeah, this is just to jog us as we begin. So let us go. Lean forward, lean backward, to the left, to the right. Stand up, sit down, to the left, to the right. Lean forward, lean backward, to the left, to the right. Stand up, sit down, to the left, to the right. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Oh, how I love Jesus. Because he first loved me. One more time. Lean forward, lean backward, to the left, to the right. Stand up, sit down, to the left, to the right. Lean forward, lean backward, to the left, to the right. Stand up, sit down, to the left, to the right. Oh, it's okay. We'll stop at that. We'll stop at that. I think that was a small warm up to make us alert. And now I know that yeah, you'll be at a good position to listen to the presentation that we have this afternoon. So, health, most of the time when you get about what is health, uh, Elder has mentioned about the drugs that we use. And as a people, this is a concern that is rising, that most of the people, we want to relieve the symptoms of the diseases that we've come across, but then we don't want to live healthy so that we don't get the disease. So from the verse that we read, we have the desire of God for every human being, okay, is that every human being, God desires that he may prosper in his spiritual life. And through the week, spiritual health is also part of what entails about health generally. And we've been emphasizing on spiritual health most of the time. So it is the desire of God that even as we pray, as we study the Bible, and as we do any other thing, then we must also prosper and be in health. Because it is when ka wanegiteko, ekoka kanya sayo rowania, wadhi mondo wa make disciples to the very end of the world, okay? So we will have people who are fit to go and make disciples of Jesus Christ. So that is why health is one of the important things in the life of human being. And so health is one of the greatest benefits that God ever gave to mortal human being. And people say that health is the greatest wealth. And for this, you are a witness. We've seen families that we've attended to who were sick, okay? But then when health concerns hits families, one of the things that we find that it drains even pesa, health issues drain pesa ahinya. Kendo ji mang'eny osebedo ka wacho niya that doctors love money, but then for us to make also this diagnosis, these are the things that are needed. One of the greatest benefits that God ever gave to mortal man is health. So know that when you are healthy, then you are the richest person. You know, we live in a society today that we define health, we define wealth as, we define maybe success as having amassed maybe money. We have money in the banks, we have tall buildings. But then one of the greatest blessings that God ever gave to human being is health. Because when we are healthy, then yes, we are rich. And someone said that we have many concerns as a people. We have concerns about how we need to take our children to school. We have concerns about our jobs. But then we forget about to make concerns also regarding our health. And then we wait until that time when disease comes in, is when now we begin to have these concerns. And so he says that when health concerns hit, you know, it becomes the only concern. You will not be able to go to your work. You will not be able to come to church, okay, just because of a health issue. So we need to give our priority first to what? To our health. How are we living in our society? So someone perhaps is asking that how can I get optimum health? And it goes on by saying that your health is your choice, okay? You have the decision. You know, God created us. The basis why we were created was out of love. And so that love gave us freedom. And that freedom gives us the power to choose. That we are also to choose, we can accept God or not. So that is a privilege that God has given unto us. And so even as today, we can decide to live healthy, and then our disease will not come. And I'd like to say even at this moment that we have atheists, people who don't believe in God, but they have seen the benefit that health brings, being healthy is to them. And so even as a church, for us, we say that it is just a thumbs up because God has given us, we believe in God, and again, God has told us then that we need to be healthy. So the desire for good health is a personal need or concern, essentially to every person, okay? elder asked if someone has never been sick, and there was no hand up. Okay, so the desire for good health, it is a personal concern, essentially for every person. So we want to see the biblical basis of health evangelism or health ministry. And we see, did you know that Christ, he did much of healing than preaching? And that we get from the book of Ministry of Healing, that tells us that while Christ was on earth for 3.5 years, he did much of the healing than what? Than preaching. And so this was the method that Christ chose. And he wanted to demonstrate to us how God is like. So I'm going to request for me to have a reader. We will read a couple of verses. So we are going to see the biblical basis of health ministry, the relationship between the first angel's message and the health ministry. And then we are going also to now go through the 10 steps to optimum health. And from the very beginning, I'd like to say that this is to put awareness, because again, writer says that prevention is better than? Prevention is better than? I can't hear you. Prevention is better than? Yes, prevention is better than cure. So we are going to emphasize more about how to prevent disease. And even as we prevent disease, we have diseases that we can also reverse, okay? And yeah, so our first verse on the biblical basis of health evangelism is from the book of John chapter 10, verses 10. So, someone there? The book of John chapter 10, verses 10. Someone there? Yes. Yes, thank you for that, Mom. That Christ, he stated his purpose so clearly that the thief comes to kill, steal, and also destroy. But he now says that, but I have come that they might have life and have it even more abundantly. And so that's why we get the statement that Christ, he did much of the healing work. He attended mostly to the physical needs of people, even than preaching, okay? And so for that, he won the hearts of his subjects. So Christ again announced his ministry. That is in the book of Luke chapter 4, verses 16 to 21. Someone, you can give our mom a microphone so that we get... we get to listen. Yes, the book of Luke chapter 4, verses 16 to 17.
16 wacho niya, bang'e Yesu nodhi Nazareth kumane odongoe, kendo chieng' Sabato ne odhi e od lemo kaka ne ojatimo. Nochung' mondo osom muma. Nochung' mondo osom muma, mi omiye kitap janabi Isaya. Ne oelo kitabuno mosomo kama ondikie niya, Roho mar Nyasaye ni kuoma, nikech oseyiera mi owala mondo aland wach maber ni joma odhier. Oseora mondo ahul ni joma otwe ni koro osegonygi, kendo ni joma muofni ni oseyaw wengegi. Bende ni mondo ahul ni joma isando ni giyudo thuolo.
Ni Kristo wacho ni kata jogo mane ni muofu nobiro mondo oyaw wengegi. So that was one of the 4 reasons that Christ gave in that verse for coming to the earth, that he was also concerned about recovery of sight to the blind. And this is not the first time that the Bible speaks about God being concerned about our health. We find that in the book of in the book of Genesis, from creation, God had to dictate, okay, how man was to live. And so he even chose for him a diet for himself, okay? And then even after sin, God again came through. And have you read of this verse in the book of Nehemiah chapter 9 verses 41 that speaks about, Nehemiah is recounting about the journey of Israelites through the wilderness. And he says that for 40 years, God led these people, okay, for 40 years. That is from Egypt to the land of Canaan. And one of the interesting things that these people, as they left, the same clothes that they had were the very same. Let us just read of that verse. Nehemiah chapter 9 verses 21. Nehemiah
21 wacho niya, niritogi e thim kuom higni 40 kendo onge gima ne gichando. Lepgi bende ne ok oti kendo tiendegi ne ok okuot.
Okay, that for 40 years God was with these people. Most of us have not got to 40 years of age. But then, if I can recount the number of clothes I've had since I was born, they are uncountable. I'm still far away from that age. But then, this was God leading his people. And this is just to tell us that the choice that God has for us, it is the best. Like, they never, the same clothes that they had, nokugiti. Kendo kata tiende gi wuoche mane giruako, they were the same, okay? So this was actually God's working to them. And even today, as God speaks to us, then so even the principles that you're going to lay, they are just biblical. And even the modern medicine today, that you go to see a doctor, they entirely borrow from what? From what God had laid foundation about. So Christ, and who is God, is concerned about our health. And he came to recover sight to them that were blind. And in the book of Matthew chapter 15 verses 30, for this you can just write, we see that large crowds came to Jesus Christ and he healed them. So Jesus devoted more time in healing the sick than even preaching. And the Bible tells us that there were even villages where neonge yuak ngato mora manituo. Okay? So that is actually how Christ was. Ni kumora mora manese kale. Be it maybe a village in Galilee. Kamaji netuo. Kanese kalo kanyo. Neonge yuak mora ne ngama tuo kendo. So in the book of Luke chapter 9 verses 2, again tells us that Christ, when commissioning his disciples to go to the cities, okay, he told them that go and heal what? Go and heal the sick and also to preach. So Christ is concerned about our spiritual health as well as our physical health. Because all these things, they go hand in hand. And the very last one, in the parable of the judgment, that is in the book of Matthew chapter 25, from verses 31 to 40, Jesus illustrates that theology itself is not enough. And Pastor emphasized on this through the week about the sin of omission and sin of commission, okay? And we were able to get the difference. So Jesus illustrates that theology enough while we are here as a church to preach. Yes, we are to take the everlasting gospel. But then we need also to use Christ's method of healing, okay? And then he bade his subjects that he may follow. They may follow him. So those who are saved are those who demonstrate God's love by feeding the hungry, caring for the sick, and clothing to those who are in need. Because that was the statement that Christ said to the group that was on the left side, that I never knew you, okay? You did not feed me while I was hungry. You did not care for me while I was sick. And also, when I did lack clothing, you did not minister unto me. So theology itself is not enough. It is not enough for us to stand and preach only the word. But then, as a church, we've been given a message that we may take forth. So that is about the biblical basis of health evangelism. And one thing that we've underscored, that Christ, who is God, is concerned about our health. Because through this, we will be able to be more effectively for him. Okay? You know, when he calls us to come on the Sabbath day, you know, in 6 days he says that you shall work. But on the 7th day you shall come before me. Okay? So while you are sick, you are at your home. You know, you are not also keeping that commandment that he has said. So when he says that I need you to be healthy, he again tells you, then I need you also to come before me, that you may be in the Sabbath, from Sabbath to Sabbath. And Sabbath itself has eternal consequences, that we need to start enjoying the things of heaven while we are here on earth. Isaiah says that even Sabbath will be in the new heavens and the new earth. And it is so interesting that we want to get to heaven, but we don't love the things that God has given us while we are still on this earth to prepare us for the future. So if it is your desire, you know, in heaven there will be also Sabbath. Okay? So we need to get used to it before then. So the first angel's message and the health ministry, and God designed, that is from the very onset of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, from the year 1840s, okay, God prepared a church. And God had a sequence. You know, there was organization of the church, and then around in 1847 to 1850, we had conferences in which the very fundamental beliefs that we have today as a church were developed. So there were different Bible conferences in which Ellen White, together with the husband and other people, were there to come up with the very fundamental beliefs that we have. Some were recently added, but majority of them were given during that time. So God prepared a church. And so even after the establishment, when we came to have a name as Seventh-day Adventist, that was in the month of April, the month of May, in 1863, after the adoption of our name, then God again had to go further to give us about health message, because it was found during that time that people were not living right. You know, it was a generation in which nokigingeo katani karendawa be madoyat mado rach. Okay, so God had to come and intervene, that are people that he has organized. So he is giving them the health message through Sister White. And so the first angel's message that is to be preached to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people tells us of this very basic, that people need to fear God and do what? And give him glory. Because of one reason, that the hour of his judgment has what? Has come. So I'll not speak about the everlasting gospel that is spoken about in the book of, in the first angel's message, but my interest is connect between the first angel's message and about our health. So let's get to the book of Revelation chapter 14, verses 6 and 7. So someone to read for us the book of Revelation chapter 14, 6 and 7.
Six wacho niya,
Yes.
eka ne aneno malaika moro ka huyo e kor polo. Ne en gi wach maber mochwere mondo oland ni joma odak e piny. Nolando wachno ni pinje duto, gi dhoudi duto, kendo ni joma wacho dhok duto, kod ogendini duto. Nokok matek niya, luoruru Nyasaye kendo miyeuru duong', nikech sama ong'ade bura osechopo. Lamuru jal mane ochweyo polo gi piny, kaachiel gi nam kod sokni.
Yes, thank you for that. That fear God and give him glory. Because of one thing, that the hour of his judgment, okay, has already come. So we want to see, how do we give glory to God? And one of the things, that is where now we get the very connection between the health message, our health ministry, and the first angel's message. That we need to give glory and also fear God. So let's get to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verses 31. 1 Corinthians 10 verses 31.
To aduoko penjono ni, ka ulemo, kata umetho, kata utimo gimoro amora, to timuru kamano mana ni mondo umi Nyasaye duong'.
That whether you eat or drink, do it to the glory of who? To the glory of God. Whether you eat or drink or whatsoever you do. So we get the emphasis because eating and drinking also is part of whatever we do. Okay? So when we say that whether you eat or drink or whatsoever, any other thing you do it to the what? To the glory of God. And that is what the first angel's message tells us, that you need to give glory to God. So whether we eat or whether we drink, then we must give glory to God. And so proper selection and preparation and consumption of food is included in giving glory to God in our body. Okay? So as we go forth to teach people to fear God and give him glory, then it tells us that whether we eat or drink, we need to do to the glory of God. And also about drinking. The sufficient use of pure water internally and externally, and abstaining from the use of alcohol and other harmful drinks are also emphasized in this. That even whether we drink, we all need to give to the glory of God. You know why? As a church, we don't hold that people to take any fermented drink. Okay? You know, it is God speaking to us that we need to do everything to the glory of God. So in the book of that Revelation chapter 14 verses 1, we are also told about the 144. Having his father's head, having in their head, in their foreheads, that is now in the frontal lobe, having the father's name written in their foreheads. And so God speaks to us. You know why we say that alcohol is not good? Because it is going to affect your frontal lobe. And it is your frontal lobe that it is the seat of judgment, intellect, and will. You know, you're going to make choices. Okay? And so alcohol interferes with that. And so we may not be at a position to know what is good and what is evil. So that's why also the seal of God is going to be written in the forehead. Okay? So it is in the same place, the very frontal lobe. And so we need to guard our hearts above all else, as the psalmist says, that guard your hearts above all else, because out of it flows the issues of life. So we need to take care of our frontal lobe, and this is ranging from how we live in the society. So health by the WHO defines health as a state of complete well-being, that is physically, mentally, spiritually, as well as our social well-being. So through the week, we've been focusing on our spiritual health. And so physical and mental health, and even social health, you know, this definition, it is interesting that the WHO, they were defining it. You know, these were elite men. And there were people, when coming with this definition in 1978, okay, I suppose that there was no person who maybe knew God there, who maybe perhaps knew God, but had not come to know about the principles of health in the Bible. So they took this definition actually from the book of Luke chapter 2 verses 52, where we are being told that Christ, when he was growing, he grew in what? Wisdom. That is now the mental aspect. He grew also in stature, the physical aspect, and also he found favor before God, the spiritual aspect, and also favor with man. Okay? That is now the social aspect. And so the WHO, when they come to define what is health, so it is not merely absence of disease or infirmity, but health is running across. It is entailing actually our health. And so we want to see the indicators of the 4 components of health. So when you speak about health, health is not about physical fitness alone. It is regarding spiritual, our social, how we relate with people in the society, and how be it diabetes, be it hypertension. Weight is a concern. So an indicator of physical fitness is, of physical health is physical fitness and also healthy weight. And when you are also free from disease, we say that you are physically well. And when you have high resistance to what? To disease. Another component of health is mental health. So what will say that you are mentally well? When you are happy, when you have positive outlook, when you cope well with life, when you are adaptable to change. Okay? So most of the time we come to define health that it is just absence of disease. But when we are not happy, when we cannot cope up with life, when we are not interested in this life, when we are not adaptable to change, then we are still not healthy. So social health, again, entails, the indicators entails about good relations and even communication. When you communicate well and you get along with others well, when you value your community, when also you support your family and friends, and even handles conflicts and problems well, then when you have all this is when we will say that you are healthy. And so health is not just merely absence of disease, but then the social aspect of it, where we must know how to be even supportive to our families and friends, and even know how to handle conflict and problems as well. So spiritual health, what is the indicator? When you have that inner peace, okay? Inner peace. And Isaiah the prophet says that thou will keep in perfect peace he whose mind is stayed upon thee. And when we say that you have a mental illness, that is things like depression or stress, then know that spiritually you are not good with God. Because we see people like Peter and Paul. Peter himself, we find that in the book of Acts chapter 12 Acts chapter 12 from verses 1, Peter was sleeping in prison. Okay? You know, there was suffering. He was to be executed the next day. But then how comes that he's sleeping? Okay? You know, when we have spiritual health, then we will have that inner peace. You will not have anything to disturb your mind, okay? Because you know that he who is in you is greater than who is without. So Paul, also writing from prison, you know he was suffering, but says that rejoicing, I tell you again, rejoice and rejoice. Okay? And so having spiritual health is inner peace that comes from above. And as the Bible says that he will keep him in perfect peace, he whose mind is stayed upon God. And when our mind is stayed upon God, it is not on occasions like Sania Biro Kanisa, then my mind is there on God. But then even as we walk and wherever we are, okay, we must learn to meditate and uplift our hearts to God. That is at the point that we will say that we are spiritually fit. And that is the only indicator that you will have peace that this world cannot give. So the very last, I'm going to tell us about 10 steps to optimum health. I'm not going to take us through to teach you about disease, hypertension. I teach you about diabetes. Okay? My main concern is that we might prevent them, because prevention is better than cure. So we are going to have the very first step. I see the time is far much spent, but in 5 minutes we are going to end. So the 10 steps to optimum health. Okay? This is from our spiritual books together with the books that we have, the non-spiritual books. So health studies have identified the following major predictors of health and longevity. If I had time, I would have given you of a research that was done, which was in USA. So there's a place that is called Loma Linda, and mostly Adventists live there. And so they were able to notice that the people living in Loma Linda, they were living longer compared to the average population. Okay? So you can just go and get to read of that research. And so they did that. Why is these people living longer than the other groups that were not Adventist. And averagely, an Adventist man was living like 7 years longer than the average American. Okay, so kangato the life expectancy is 77 at America, then Adventist in that place, they died 7 years. They were like now dying at 84, okay, their life expectancy. And so it was found out that these people, they live, they focus about on social health, social being. And we saw that social health, an indicator is good relation, okay, supportive to families. It is this church that speaks of mostly family life, okay. So these things have come to help in a way. And also these people also say that Adventists, the kind of diet that they take, okay. So it was just a thumbs up to us that we have the right principles. And these are the 10 steps for optimum health. So health studies that have been identified to be major predictors of health and longevity are the following. So first is about physical activeness. So physically active. So that is the very first one. So in the entire world, the leading cause of death is diseases related to heart. That is ranging from hypertension, cardiac arrest. We have arterial diseases and venous diseases. We have again myocardial infarction and so many of them. So in the entire world, heart diseases is the leading cause of death. And even among Africans, there are so many. And suppose if I was to ask that, how many people know someone with hypertension? How many knows someone with hypertension? Just carry up your hand. Ngata monge ngama nigituo mar pressure. Echokruok ka. Tinga neba dimal. Yes. Yes. Pressure has become a norm in the society and many people are suffering from such diseases. But then we have that exercise or being physically active is one of the medicine for cardiac diseases. Okay? That being physically active, it is an exercise actually for the heart. When you are walking, when you're doing your house calls, okay, you are helping your heart just to pump the blood. And so when we see that the leading cause of death in the entire world is heart-related diseases, then it tells us that people are not doing exercise, people are not having adequate exercise. So exercise protects against heart disease, it protects against diabetes, obesity, and cancer, and even mental illness. And any doctor, be it a believer or an atheist, okay, when you get to a medical center, there is no doctor who will tell you, will maybe give you prescription to treat pressure without telling you about the lifestyle changes that you need to do. Okay? So the very first one is exercise. And the best exercise is walking. Okay? Followed by the house calls is when now we get to running and we have others like even swimming. So be physically active. And the World Book tells us that we need to have physical exercise for at least 5 to 6 days. Okay? So what does that tell you even at the back of your mind? If the worldly people want you anandika gine magindiko niya karonengo watimo rako for 5 to 6 days. Koro gikia kata Sabbath. So they are just telling you that now in the 7th day you can also just rest. Okay? So that is what comes with it. So being physically active is one of the key principles to optimum health. And even any mental issue, be it depression. Okay, the very number one thing before being given any prescription, your doctor will tell you to do what? To be physically active. So the guidelines for fitness is very simple. That you need to have physical exercise 30 minutes in a day, 6 times in a week or 5. Okay? And walking is actually the very best exercise of all. So the second one is about getting adequate rest. It is during sleep that the body the body's physical and mental reserves are replenished. And you see that in the hospital, dongonge karbet, and kamana karu timango, jinenda nenda donge. Have you ever asked yourself that most of the time actually patients are sleeping, and rest itself and during sleep is when we do what? The body's physical and mental reserve are replenished. And someone who is known as Albert Einstein, he made great progress in the field of physics. You know, Albert Einstein nenga mariek kabisa, and we cannot learn maybe some of the thermodynamics, some things of the sort, without mentioning Albert Einstein. Tokoran by Einstein ni gime worogodo ni most of the time he used to sleep. Ni enkataka no idhi iliele niliele mana konindo. Okay, to manawie kendo onindo. And that is how getting to rest and sleeping can do much to our what? To our brain, okay? For our mental what? Mental health. And one of the things that we use to diagnose someone having depression is what we call insomnia. Insomnia is lack of sleep. Like some of the time at night you say that you can't sleep, okay? Then maybe depression is catching up with you. So getting adequate rest, that is sleeping 7 hours, 20 minutes to 8 hours of sleep, 2 hours before midnight, is going to give you that adequate light, adequate rest. And our Spirit of Prophecy book says that even lights in our homes should be off by 9:30. Okay? And so even children today, it is so worrying when you get someone who is 4 years old getting to go to school. Sa pagarewang ese uoko this school. Okay? Then in the future is when now we begin to see all the problems that catch up with them. So the very one thing for our physical and mental development is adequate rest. And we need to sleep in a dark room and also get adequate rest. And for that, we are going to improve our health. So another thing is about getting regular health exam. And for this, we say that early diagnosis is key to good prognosis. That's why this month we have cervical cancer awareness, okay, where we tell women, any woman from the age bracket of 21 to the year 65, okay, you need to do what? You have a cervical cancer screening that in our hospital is done free. And we are also promoting that people to have what? Vaccination for human papilloma virus, okay? Because for early diagnosis, it is going to lead us to what? To good prognosis. So what do you need to regularly check as a person? You need to check your blood pressure at least once in a month. You know, it will not take you much time. That you know, pressure nasa nini kai. Okay? So it will be found when things are not worse. You need also to look at your blood glucose. It is just a 5 minutes test. Okay? You need to check your weight. Okay? And calculate. Your health practitioner will also help you to calculate your BMI. And then for women, breast cancer is also on the rise. You need to see a medical doctor. Any woman, okay, in any age bracket, that you need to do what? To go for screening for breast cancer. Because when they are found in early diagnosis, and even it is in our books, that in stage 4 cancer, there is nothing much we can do. It is just palliative what? Palliative care. But if it is in stage 1, then early diagnosis. So the very third one is about getting regular health exam. And we have also immunization, such as for the flu and tetanus and also for pneumonia. So regularly we need to have this. And for that we are going to have optimum health. So the number 4 one is about maintaining a healthy weight. Maintaining a healthy weight. And I mentioned that most of the diseases, that is cancer, diabetes, pressure, the number 1 cause is what? Is obesity. And obesity is when we have a BMI of more than 25 meter squared. Okay? So you need to check your weight regularly. So maintaining a healthy weight. So how can you do this? We have physical exercise that you had mentioned that will help you to have adequate weight. You can also look on how you eat. And diet is one of the very basic to maintain that adequate weight. So that was the fourth one. So the fifth one, we need to eat healthy. So for us to have optimum health, we need to take fruits and vegetables daily. And this is one of the diet that God gave to man when he created man. He gave him to eat fruits and the seeds, but then after sin, he gave them vegetables because this body is a body of sin. You know, kaki medo dongo ekaka mwili medo ol. Nikech mwili wa wangi tuoche mangeny. That even right now as I am standing here, studies nyiso ni kata wangi bacteria nikech ringre wani en ringre mar chilo kendo mane eseluar. It is not in the state that God made it. And so we even have, you may be walking, but then you have this bacteria all over in your body. And so when the immunity goes down is when now the diseases comes in. TB inaanza tu kukuja because of maybe immunosuppression. And so food actually should be our medicine, okay? So you need not to wait for pills. Like akwanga amuonye yath Panadol, ekoka ayud ngema. Ekoka I relieve the pain. But then even the foods that we eat, they should be our medicine. So things like ginger, that is a natural antibiotic, okay? But that you need just to be taking, not that time when you are sick, but any time. So we have fruits and vegetables that even atheist says that it is the very best, okay? It is the very best. And even from that research that was found out that Loma Linda people are living longer compared to the average population, okay, you can guess of the kind of diet they were having. So you need also to take all grains and cereals. And if you want to get away from the lifestyle diseases, that is high blood sugar, high blood pressure, okay, you must now avoid what? The white things. So the white things include like white sugar, white rice. You need to avoid, again, white wheat, okay? So those are the number one problems that brings all these lifestyle diseases. So taking all grains and cereals daily is going to do what? Is going to help you. So you need also to take good breakfast. And for this, I know you will remember with this presentation. So I'm going to give you a clue how you need to take your meals every day. And for this, it will help you for optimum health because you've said that any food that we eat, it should be as a medicine. Nikech ringrewa en ringre martho. Koro en kare chiemo monengo wachamo, onego kelne ngimane ne dendwa. Koro mokwongo, that you need to take your breakfast as a what? As a king. You need to take your lunch as a queen. And you need to take your supper or dinner as a prince. Sawa. So you need to be integrating kidok piny. Kichakogi breakfast you eat like a king. King is the highest ranked in maybe a kingdom. Enenga maduong mogik. Koro breakfast toa emonengo bede the largest meal because you've been actually fasting the entire night, and so you need to break what? You need to break the fast. Koro kanye kumanyingno noya inia nikare we just break the fast, okay? So after breaking a fast, you need to take what? A very heavy meal. So breakfast you should eat as a I can't get you. Breakfast we should eat as a king, and lunch as a and dinner as a prince. But the Africa en ngama ok nyal winjo wachni kendo koro oloke ataro ni wan koro waloko ni kare otieno ema koro nyaka wachiem to onge tich mora mora mawadhi timo, okay? But now in the day you are going to be physically active. Koro one of the meals you should never miss is actually actually breakfast. Okay, so this is just principles to help us that we need to eat our breakfast as a king, lunch as a queen, and dinner as a prince. So we need to limit animal fat and solid fats and also fried foods, and we need to replace them with healthy fats. So healthy fats are vegetables oil, okay, things like avocado, okay, even daily intake of avocado is good. It is going to provide you with adequate fats. And another one is olive oil, okay, that is also a medicine to any heart condition, okay. So today I'm not going to give you pills, but then the very basic principles to help us, okay. So you need to replace the animal fat with healthy fats, and most of the animal fats we get from meat, okay, that we need to limit, because we are going to have a lot of cholesterol, and what we are going also to have a lot of fats that are going to clog our blood vessels. So we need to limit that. And then we also need to limit refined sugar and sugary foods and even soft drinks. So I want to give you this example. Maybe by first asking a question. Ng'ato mora mora katuono chai. Maybe you get a cup of maybe soya tea, and then ikao kijika boro mar sukari tea ole. Has anyone tried that? Benyalore. 8 tablespoons of sugar. Is that much? Dongongeny. So this is same to kikao soda mar Fanta. Okay, the quantity of sugar that is in there is equated to 8 tablespoons. Mokinyal keto egikombe achiel mondo imadhi. So that is how worse the soft drinks are. Kendo gi sukari magi kelonwa. Koro we need to limit, okay? You know, it was late until 1970 when we had disease of high blood glucose on the rise. And even in 20 years to come, okay, karekata nyithindo maasani wan godo, because diabetes, it has been known forever that it is the disease of the age. But kato hospital kawuono, waneno nyaka nyithindo ma, that is for the type 2 diabetes. Nyithindo ma, even at your 30s, okay, or 20s, isecha kobedogi tuo mar sukari. Type 1 is for, it is inborn. Nitiere jok minyuolo godo man gi type 1 diabetes. And for that, we always give them lifelong insulin. But then, we have type 2. Makoro N, lifestyle, kaka wadak. So, with the rise of healthy fat, the animal fat, together with highly refined sugar products, then diabetes is going to be one of the threats. Kendo diabetes and, okay, so the entire system. And one of the symptoms, ma okay loni, inyalo bedo gi shida mar okinen maber, or you can have problems with your kidney. It is also a risk factor to high blood pressure. Kuro tuo mar sukari, it is a lifestyle disease which you have, then you are open to get all other diseases. So another one is to eat salt and salty foods moderately. Kendo wawacho ni onge ng'ata ng'ata monengo med chumbi e chiemo. Because right now, if I take salt, 5 minutes to ichakipim pressure na, tidhi yudo ka esechako idho. Okay? So that is how bad it is. That when you add that salt, immediately, your pressure is going high. And we have the best replacement for the sugar that we have. That is the Himalayan salt. Ma okdi increase our pressure, and it comes at a cost in the supermarkets, but then it is the very best, okay? And then we also need to drink a lot of water, and I usually give this example. Kane diponi idhi go abal. So nitiere abal, ma in that pool there is honey, and then in the other pool there is water. Ere kumidhi yude yot ki go abal. Where there is what? Where there is water. No. Where there is water. Or kaka nyuka gipi, taketo kaka ringo. Which will go first? Definitely it is water. So that is how also our blood in the blood vessels, how it is flowing. Ni kochal kaka gi honey, kata nyuka, to koro mana odhi mana mos. Kaiti yudo nango. Koro the heart is using a lot of energy, a lot of pumping force, mondo overcome, mondo push. And that is how now pressure comes in. Okay? So drinking enough water every day. Kendo it is estimated that we need to take 30 ml per kg. Koro an can 63 kilograms. How much water should I drink in a day? Because every one of us has a different daily consumption. Ngamani 60 kg onengo modpi marom nade. Konengo chikao 30 ml per kg. How much is that? Karewonge gijo kwano. How much is that? 1.8 liters. And if someone is 70 kilograms, how much? They need to take 2.1 liters. Koro gimadoro na gole pa chien ni ya ni kaka nese ngisi chon. Ni onegimod glasses 6 to 8 glasses of water. Oken adir. Because all of us have different weights. And so kata hospital, kawa miyo GP, this is the formula that you use. 30 ml per kg. Koro ka in 60 kg, you need to take 1800 ml of water. If you are 50 kg, you need to take 1500 ml of water. Nikech ringrewa, it is entirely based on water. And then the fact that we are losing water, kawa sweat, kendo kawa uoyo, kendo kawa the oko, that is it be the long call or the short call, make it necessary. Kendo sami winjo ni rio ewi, tongeni in manakare ngama tho. Sawa sawa. That if you are feeling thirsty, okay, then the body is actually demanding like, I am dying. You need to provide what? You need to provide water. Koro, the essence like we lose water, then we need to replace also, to replace daily. So that was about eating a healthy diet. And the next one is about environmental, our environment. You know, when God created man, for him to grow well and for him to have a healthy life, Nyasaye nokao dhano kendo nokete in the Garden of Eden, kuma ne ntiere yiende mane miyo human being the oxygen, and for us we give them carbon dioxide. And so if you can take human being out of this earth, okwanya live in any other place. And so it is very essential for us to have a healthy and a pleasant, clean, and sanitary surrounding. That is pure water, pure air, and even adequate sunlight, which is essential for good health. Koron, I wanted to give you this about sunlight. It is just a thought that has come. So about sunlight, it is estimated that ngamakao dakika pradeke chieng, pile ka pile, koyo chieng, is equated to ngama chamoto ngapaga beach pile ka pile. That is the amount of vitamin D that it will be provided. Okay? Because vitamin D we can get from foods. But then a food like eggs, it is equated, if you take 15 eggs, it is equated to having sunlight only for 30 minutes in a day. Kori nyalone na nena, ego kuanonia, auchieng for 30 minutes, or I eat my 15 eggs daily. Okay? And when eating that 15 eggs daily, other diseases are going to come then. Okay? Koro, sunlight itself is very essential for good health. Kendo kata jok man tierege diseases. Some of them onge ebuge mondik koro gijo piny. But then as a church, then sunlight is one of the doctor. Be it autoimmune diseases. Ngamo biro gi autoimmune disease, the very first thing mawachoyogi is vitamin D. Even 100,000 international unit that someone requires. But then, ka iningama yude pile, then you will be at a good what? At a good position. And then also the community that you live around. So people with strong social connection cope better with life, and they are happier and they live longer. Take time to nurture relationships in life, build friendship, participate in church programs, and also community groups. That's why God had to establish a church. Yesu no establish a church where we have the 12, and then they preached, and more people, the book of Acts says that more people were added unto the church. Kendo negi share their things. Gin negi wacho ni kama lopa, mama na lop mar jo kanisa. If it was food, they were sharing equally. So we need to have strong social connection to cope up with a better life. And then we have a mental outlook. It is estimated also that most of the diseases that we suffer today, I'm told time. So most of the diseases that we suffer today, some are beginning just from the mind. One of it is ulcers. One of them is ulcers, which is strongly related with what? With stress. Koro kaka Nyasaye no chwewa in the brain, nikech wan koro waseyango kendo waseneno the connections that are there, nitiere nerve mawuok e obwongo nika ka dhiye directly into the stomach. Kendo ene control the activities of the stomach. That is cranial nerve number 10. It is called the vagus nerve. Koro, it is also seen also in stress. Ni ngama pache thago ka onge gi that mental health, the effect is seen now in the stomach because of that nerve that is connecting the brain with the stomach. Okay? Koro kata ngama biro nini gi ulcers mokwongo, then perhaps the problem is now in the brain. Okay? So there is an intimate connection between the brain and their physical body. Okay? And there is also a very strong connection between the stomach and also the mind, because it is said that when the stomach suffers, the mind also suffers. And so we need to look at the kind of food that we eat. Okay? We need to look at the kind of foods that we eat. So having a cheerful, optimistic outlook promotes good health. So for this, you can get recreation, adequate rest. You can get to connect with your friends you love. You can just interact with nature. And also get to listen to good music. Good music is also promoting a mental health. So we need also to stay in control. We need to avoid anything that is going to affect our health. That is like alcohol, smoking, drugs, and we have things that are also coming, the flesh, because diseases are also increasing in the animals that we take. Kataka Nyasaye ne omiyowa ni wacham some of the animals. But then kaka sani dhano tiyo gi animals gi ema kete the very threat mondo wacham. Tinde animals ichwoyo sindan. Dhiang' no wach ni wanyalo chamo. But then now the bad thing is how are people treating all these animals? So we need to stay in control, and we avoid anything that is bad. And the very last one is about spiritual health. And we read in the book of Isaiah chapter 40 verses 31 that says that, but they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and they shall not faint. So the entire reason why God desires our health is that we may also enjoy this life before the life to come. Okay? But God again takes us to the life that is coming. And the book of Revelation chapter 21 verses 1 to 3 and 4 tells us that there is going to be a time when there shall be no more sickness, where there shall be no more pain, because the former things have gone. So that is how we are going to have the optimum health. And it is my prayer that God may give you the power to do. Okay? And also the power to read. Because you are the first doctor for your what? For your health. So God bless you all as you make your health your priority. And the very last thing that you say, that my health is my choice. So God bless you for that. And we will have another time to have more.
We would have wished to allow 2 questions, but for lack of time, I don't know if we can allow that. Is it something burning? Nata nigi penjo.
Erokamano Elda. Japuonj ne wuoyo kata na winjo komulo wach mar fermented drinks. Fermented drinks na winjo kane wacho kae. Iji ondewa ne bago nyuka. Nyuka mano bagi no na madho miyo sani ategno chalo kama. Wan kod mala. Chak mano puo niketo to madho. Koro awe madho chak gisani kata mala me mane duka we dhi ng'eyo nikech en fermented orach. Kene bi winjo penjo na Elda.
Winjo, daktari biro duoki, but from my knowledge, akeni deu ne meda ngoe nyuka. Were there some additives? Chemical?
No.
Onge?
Onge.
Fermented milk nigi chemical. So allow me to Mayor Daktari konyalo me a better medical aspect of it.
Okay, so thank you for that wonderful question. So for us to go through fermentation, we must have what? Sugar first. Sawa. You must have sugar. Emomiyo kongo moko iloso gi oduma kata nguru. We've seen people getting njagari from this other side to central Kenya and uses it for that. But then now the problem comes. Wanyalo paroni maybe in the past that is what keeping us fit right now. But then anything that is fermented, nikech of the process of fermentation no koro loke gi machalo kata kaka kongo, okay, and then now it has a way of interfering with our brain, and that is why the Bible also says that ni jok moko mer to gimadho kongo kare wanyalo mer kendo gi chiemo. It is also seen that the same sugar goes through the process of fermentation. Ani kataka wachame mang'eny kare dendwa ka in a stomach for also for long, it may ferment, okay, and then it becomes now something that is alcoholic. Okay, so about chak, we need to learn from nature. Okay, what nature? Or actually, any physical thing has a spiritual lesson even for us. Koro nature teaches as well that there is a period that human being need to take what? Need to take milk. This is also we see in the animal kingdom. It is not persisting with milk until the old age. Buinja. Sindio. I just want to make us get this thing simple. Okay? Ni chak, as medical practitioners, gani karenyati onengo emomad chak for the first 6 months is when now we can start supplementing and integrating other soft foods, okay, for them. But the time is going to come, makoro giweyo. So onengo gichak gidoge. Sawa. And so I think the very best milk monengo wanwa madhi kaka dhano en manamar dhano. Sawa. And for the animal it should be for so see, you get me. I just want us to get it so well. Sawa. Okay. Yeah, that is what actually nature teaches us about. That it is human beings that we have insisted that we are not living milk. Yani daga ni chagni okwawe. But then a point is coming, it was meant, okay, that we need to bring it to an end. So that is what I can say about it. It is just a light that Obiro Nwasani.
Wawachona ngone daktari. Ya waonge time. Wase the mang'eny sana. Kiane? Wiye koda. Yeah. Adwa gone daktari erokamano na presentation momiyowa. Say when God laid out plans for your future, plans for your future life. He had the right people for you, the right time and the opportunities. These people could be jokmidhi irgi, kind of medical issue, kata mag somo and all that. And that is why medically we say when you go to an hospital, it is called a place of paradox. Paradox why? Ne ngima chakore hospital kendo nyalo end up there. So nyakibed mentally aware ni gima teri hospital nyalo bedo gi causes, outcomes moko masamoro may not be according to kaka ne chano, depending gi either your medical condition kata kaki undergo process mar thieth manoteri. Aluongo health ministry mantiere to gi elders. Kindly come for a closing item. Mondo wa save on time for departmental meetings, bearing in mind also ni pod ntiere lei kuma ji there. And I want to thank you so much for taking your time. As much as maybe never limit questions, mane nyalo work from the audience. Thank you so much. Elders, health ministry personnel. Sitting and standing, elders. Sitting and standing, just come. This is service to God. Elder Ken, you have abdicated your responsibilities. Okay. Nitie ngima ng'iyo msalaba, Yesu wachong'iya uru, mwandu mapiny en gima kadho, mwandu mosiko ni kuom Ruoth Yesu. Kwang'iyo nitie ngima, kawang'iyo msalaba, wanayud warruok chutho, kwang'iyo yor Kalwari. Kana kwongo ng'iyo wang' jawarna, nong'iya gi wang' mang'won, kendo katemruok dwaro loya, nayo teko kang'iyo msalaba. Ng'iyo nitie ngima, kawang'iyo msalaba, wanayud warruok chutho, kwang'iyo yor Kalwari. Nang'i msalaba ndalona duto, kageno singruok mar Nyasaye, Satani ok onyalo loyo jogo mageno keto mar polo. Kwang'iyo kawang'iyo msalaba, wanayud warruok chutho, kwang'iyo yor Kalwari.
wachungo mondo walem ka watieko program ma ne wan go. Ruodhwa kendo Nyasachwa, erokamano kuom bedo kodwa okiny nyaka sani Jehova. Erokamano kuom wer moparonwa ni kwang'iewo msalaba to wayudo chang Jehova. Omiyo mi wabed gi geno kuomi Jehova, mondo ndalo Jehova in jathieth mang'ula Jehova. Omiyo wakwayo ni telnwa e yorewa mag chiemo kata yorewa mag physical fitness, mondo wa enjoy good health mana kaka wasomo from the book of John and other topics, Lord. Wakwayo ni dwachi mondo timre kit ngimana ndalo ka ndalo, bed kodwa nikech wakwayo Ruoth Yesu. Amen.